This is Raw on Netflix May 12, 2025 full show results video which takes place at KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. CM Punk makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says this isn't the first time Paul Heyman stabs CM Punk in the back, and once shame on you, twice, shame on Punk, but hey, he wants to trust his friends. Almost 12 years ago Heyman smashed a ladder into his head and made him get 13 staples, but he thought they had both grown as people. Jey Uso tried to warn him, but Paul is Paul, and he's a fat little snake, but he's more mad at himself than he is at Paul, and of course he's mad at CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and we all know how this journey ends. He can't wait to get hands on Heyman and squeeze his fat little neck until his eyes pop. Then comes Paul Heyman and Punk tells him to get in the ring and explain himself with the understanding that whatever words he chooses will be his last. Then comes Seth Rollins, dressed entirely in brown leather and flanked by Bron Breakker, and says Paul Heyman was CM's best friend and he made his life hell on the road to WrestleMania, and now he's out here gaslighting everyone that Heyman is the one that betrayed him? Punk loves to play the victim, come out here and boo, cry him a river, poor CM Punk so desperately wants to die a martyr? Well, Rollins believes that can be arranged and he hopes CM has prepared his last words. He gives Bron Breakker a tap on the shoulder and Breakker slides in the ring. Punk spikes him with the microphone, but Bron gets him in the corner with shoulder blocks and right hands, forcing CM to cover up. A big boot cuts Breakker off. Punk jumps Rollins and beats him down until Bron attacks Punk, and then both starts beating Punk. Sami Zayn makes the save, but the odds aren't even and Breakker suplexes him away. Chair in hand, Seth is gonna take him out, but main event Jey Uso makes the save. The heels light on Uso, but Punk and Zayn take the opportunity to go get chairs and retake the ring, sending them packing. Then we saw a match between Chad Gable versus Penta, and the result of this match was Penta defeated Chad Gable by pinfall with a flip piledriver. Roxanne Perez and Julia cut a promo about how the women's division isn't safe and they're taking over. Back from the commercial, we go to the Judgment Day clubhouse and Dominic Mysterio gets off the phone with Liv Morgan, who's doing great but confused him by saying good morning, to which JD McDonough asks if he's ever heard of time zones before. Dom shrugs it off and confronts Finn Balor about not being helpful enough at Backlash, but Balor papers it over with all's well that ends well and says he's still gonna take care of AJ Styles for him tonight. Mysterio accepts this, and then the rest of Judgment Day explain the rotation of the earth to him as we cut away. Back from the commercial, Sami Zayn rolls up on CM Punk and asks if they're good ahead of their tag match against Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins at Saturday night's main event. Punk says he is and he isn't, you know? It's hard to trust anybody right now. Zayn says he knows the feeling and he felt the same way before War Games, but that worked out pretty well and they both like to do things their own way, but together they can take Rollins and Breakker out, and Punk agrees and they fist bump about it. The next match happened between Creed Brothers versus War Raiders, and the result of this match was Creed Brothers defeated War Raiders by pinfall with the Brutus Ball device on Ivar. Bron Breakker, Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins are backstage, and Rollins tells Breakker that Punk and Zayn probably think they got one up on them, got them against the wall, maybe even they feel like they're winning, but they have no idea what he is capable of. He tells Bron he's got one more thing he wants him to do before he takes off: have some fun. Back from the commercial, main event Jey Uso makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says he's got a lot going on, there's a big target on his big back, and he wants to get something off his chest. Logan Paul's talking out the side of his neck and ducking him, but it's Saturday night's main event, it's the two of them, face to face, and afterwards, he'll still be your world, but Gunther interrupts him. He says this is the first time they're meeting since Uso beat him, and Jey can't help but rub it in his face that he tapped out. Gunther says some stuff about Jey not being a natural champion like him, and he's surprised Uso hasn't spread the news himself with his big mouth, because the winner out of him and Logan Paul has the honor of handing the World Heavyweight Championship over to the Ring General. Jey Uso throws his glasses off and says he's in his place as world champion, running this place. He's gonna handle the YouTuber and then he's gonna run it back with the Ring General, and it's gonna go the same way WrestleMania did. Io Sky cuts a promo about how Roxanne Perez and Julia will be learning the same lesson that Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair learned at WrestleMania. We get a memorial for Sabu. Unusually for WWE memorials, it's not a video package but rather just a montage of still pictures with commentary memorializing him over piano music. Back from the commercial, Ludwig Kaiser is interviewed backstage. Before he can get a word in, we hear a commotion and the camera pans to show Bron Breakker standing over an injured Jey Uso. Road agents swarm, with Shane Hurricane Helms taking point, and Sami Zayn and CM Punk both arrive to check on him, too. The next match happened between AJ Styles vs Finn Balor, and the result of this match was AJ Styles defeated Finn Balor when Penta dives on Colon off the barricade and then takes JD out with a Quebradora, then piledriver on Carlito, Balor distracted, and AJ delivered the phenomenal forearm to win the match by pinfall. Back from the commercial, Becky Lynch is perched in the turnbuckles, microphone in hand. She says she wasn't beaten on Saturday. No, Lyra Valkyria was beaten on Saturday. Well, Lyra went to the hospital and she went to her nice big bus and basked in her own brilliance. Because even after everything Valkyria has done to her, she still made her the best version of herself and gave her the best match of her career, and she has never mattered more than she does right now. But when the bell rang after the match, she didn't hear defeat. She heard an alarm going off in her ear about how much she's been manipulated not just by Lyra but by all of the crowd. She walked away from all this for almost a year because we asked her to and heard the reaction to her last title win and read the comments and she walked away. And if she's not here for the title, why is she even here? She has us to thank for her career. We carried her on our shoulders to the main event of WrestleMania and we were all in this together. But then she won and we couldn't see ourselves in her anymore because all we know is failure and we hate what we cannot understand. She doesn't have to spin her wheels trying to prove she's not what we say she is, so from now on, she is whatever we say she is. Greedy, cutthroat, selfish, all of that. All those girls in the back are gonna find out what it's like to be held down by the man. We get a Rusev video package where he says he doesn't want to do any of this, he wants to go home and be rich, but he was programmed to do this and he cannot rest until all of his brothers wake up. Last week Akira Tozawa stepped up to him and we cheered him right into the flatline, but still they care what we think. It will hurt him to hurt them, but he would rather crush them in hand than see them fall into the abyss. Maxine Dupree and Natalya are backstage with Akira Tozawa and Adam Pearce. Pearce says he can't give Tozawa a match against Rusev but he will once he's cleared, and Sheamus rolls up to tell Akira that he knows he'll give the Harry Neanderthal hell when he's cleared. Pearce congratulates him on his return last week and Sheamus wants to keep things rolling with a match against Grayson Waller. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Julia and Roxanne Perez vs Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. We see Julia trips Rhea up on the apron, Roxanne cuts Io off in the turnbuckles, Butterfly from the Beautiful Madness, hits Butterfly Superplex, Scoop Lift, then hits Northern Lights Bomb, but Ripley breaks it up. Io Sky hits a Butterfly Backbreaker on Julia, fired up, charging in, back body drop to the apron, up top, Rhea tags, nobody home, Ripley shoves Julia into a dive from Perez, and then buzzsaw kick from Io Sky, big headbutt from Rhea, pump handle, and the result of this match was Io Sky and Rhea Ripley won the match by pinfall with Riptide from Ripley on Julia. Post-match, Rhea Ripley celebrates with Io Sky but issues an obvious challenge in the process and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's Monday Night Raw? Tell me in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe the channel for more updates and video, and thanks for watching.